this, Charlie.
No problem.
No
problem.
Just fired a bit chewing
gum
gum.
No, it's my tobacco.
Is that what you've got to stop? Right, right. Well, just as a quick summary, Charlie, right, as always, you started as a youth player at Rangers, played alongside some of the club's greatest players. Am I right in saying you collected 4 league titles? Is that right?
Yes. All by myself. Not in the day with any other player on the team.
No, it was all you and carried the whole team. I'm up for that. You got a Scottish Cup during the 9 in a row times.
No, I didn't get the Scottish Cup. I won the League Cup.
Oh, was it the League Cup that you won? Sorry,
I missed the Scottish Cup one, unfortunately.
Right, aye. And was the Scottish Cup the one? Was that the Loudrup final?
Well, the Dukey final, aye, but
it was always called the Loudrup, eh?
Aye, but it was Loudrup. Dukey was lucky. That was a lucky hat trick he got anyway.
Was that Giles Rusey that was in goals that game? I know, mind, eh?
It was, yeah. He let one through his pegs for Louders.
That's right, I can remember
that. Fair, Dukey got a hat trick and still didn't get man of the match. So
everybody still refers to it as a Loudrup final. It was so bizarre, eh? But you also had spells down south as well with Leicester, Watford. You went out to Norway, Belgium, Australia, and also you played your main part of your games at Dundee United as well.
Yes,
aye. But if we could just go right back to the start, Charlie, you were born in Castlemilk. How was your
born in Châteaulet, as we call it, Castlemilk, yep.
Mm-hmm. And how was your upbringing?
I'll send you a copy of my book if you want.
Aye, that'll be bro. Make it signed and I'll get away once I've read it.
I haven't got any books, to be fair, honestly. I've not got any left. But being brought up in Castlemilk was incredible. It was a bit mental, don't get me wrong, the biggest housing scheme in Europe. I've Andy McLaren's for there, who's one of my close pals, and I still see him to this day. He was up at Dundee United and Command and things like that. Right. A lot of players have come out of Castlemilk. So that was a great upbringing. I didn't know any different. We didn't have much, like a lot of people back in those days. But the people in Castlemilk, I was well looked after. I had some great family. My 2 uncles, my gran, obviously my mum and things like that. But I was brought up more with my gran and my 2 uncles. So just playing football. That's all I really ever wanted to do, was play football. And being for the Mulshire, I'm very proud of where I'm from. Being for Castlemilk, and I still visit the place now and again. I still have got and see people now and again. Not as much as I used to, but because very busy at the moment. The last few years anyway, with my football academy. So, but I'm proud of where I'm from, and it was a great upbringing for me, especially to toughen you up with wee scheme boy, because you don't get out for now in Castlemilk, because everybody wants to get out, but everybody wants to aim for something. Yeah, you want to aim for I've got as everyone else does in life. And I was fortunate enough to sign for Rangers when I was 11-year-old as an S-form.
I mean, at what age do you start realising as a young lad? I mean, you're going to be 8, 9, and you're starting to realise I'm quite good at football here. I can stand out a wee bit.
I never really thought about anything like that myself, to be honest with you. I played with my school teams now, because you played 11-a-sides for very young. And I did stand out, obviously, when I was a kid, and that shows that I signed for Rangers at 11-year-old. But I never played against players and treated them as if they're rubbish or anything like that. I was always wanted to win. Don't get me wrong, I always wanted to win. And I was up for every game, because you don't know what's around the corner, because the next minute you could be getting shocked and somebody could be trying to take the piss at you if you were trying to do that, you know. So I was always loved football as a kid. Woke up when my football was, you just used to turn up with a bloody pair of rubbers on and playing red ash pitches, and that was you, and away you went, glass over it, bits of brick and all that. So
it's changed days now, eh?
Changed days now, 100%. The kids I've got, they don't realise how lucky they are now.
No, and it's, I mean, you joined Rangers, right? You were saying at 11. Was that around about the same time Mo Johnston was joining as well, eh?
Well,
you must have been about 11, 12-year-old when that was going on, eh?
Well, I signed by 11. I'm 49 now, so that's 38 years ago, so...
You'd be a bit there or thereabouts. See, do you remember Mo Johnston joining Rangers?
No, because I was a kid at nights. We only went to... We would be at Ibrox at night time and training in the Albion car park, or the training in Albion where the car park is now, or else training in the tunnel where it used to be the ash pit, or else train across in the school, the complex at the school. So we were only really in at nights, maybe a Tuesday, Thursday, and then summer times you would maybe they'd bring us in over the summer when the schools were off and things like that, and they'd, excuse me, maybe play some tournaments and whatever. But we never got to see
never met the first team or that much at
never
that
got
age.
to see the first team much at that point, no.
No.
But I remember we had to after the training, we used to have to get into the big baths, man. My word. I'm so glad they've changed that. That was absolutely horrible, the big baths. I think it's water in for the guys for the first team during the day as well.
It's not funny when you're hungry about it. But you joined Rangers at the same time as the likes. I mean, Stephen Presley, I've got David Hagan, Neil Murray. They all came through around about the same time. It was a good.
They're about. I think must be about 3 or 4 years older than me. These guys, Hagee, Elvis, and Neil Murray must be about 3 or 4 years older than me. I was more come through with, well, who. Neil Caldwell played with me all the way through. Stuart Ayton played with me all the way through at Rangers Boys Club, and they became full time together at Rangers. And then I like Kevin Fotheringham. I'm trying to think who else would have come through if went full time at the time. Big Donald Chisholm played with me, played against me at West Park. Then
guys that went on to have careers, really, in some way or another. Decent,
I'm trying to think. Big Scott McCulloch, his dad was Big Bob McCulloch, who lifted the Scottish Junior Cup in 1994 or something like that, or 1990. And Big Scott McCulloch's for Ayrshire, big Cumnock boy. So that's how he ended up getting nicknamed Big Bob, because his dad. Trying to think, wee Billy McDonald that went on to play with Partick First. He's a wee bit younger than me, maybe a year or two younger than me, wee Billy. Barry obviously was a year or two younger than me.
Right, you say all these players coming through, they've not got that anymore. Can you didn't see that coming through? And if they did, they're not the quality and trained up the way you guys were. But again, a lot of that probably comes down to how they were brought up and where they were brought up.
I don't think it's about how you're brought up. I just think when we signed this firm, I could still play in my boys' club, my school, and I was playing every night, training every night or whatever, playing or training most nights of the week. I probably didn't have a night off because I just wanted to play football all the time. I think they're overprotective of the kids now. When I've got kids in my academy and the pro youth take them in, then you're talking for going maybe playing for a Saturday team, playing for me on a Sunday, training with me on a Monday and a Friday, and then training with a Saturday team maybe a Tuesday and a Thursday. But when they go to pro youth, the pro youth just kind of bring them in and maybe train twice a week, and maybe the kids only get 20 minutes in a Saturday or a Sunday, which is not enough for the kids. I don't believe it's enough. But a lot of the people at the top of the game are very overprotective of the kids now. I still think kids have to be out playing with their friends, enjoying it. Okay, go pro youth, but they should still be able to play with their school and their boys' clubs and things like that as well. Because when you go to pro youth, it becomes more serious. That be a bit more serious because it's supposed to be professional. Like me, we still try and make sure they're doing their training properly, obviously, but we still want them to enjoy themselves. We want them to have fun, express themselves. But maybe that gets taken out of them a wee bit too young.
I think so. I spoke to Gordon Smith as well, and he was saying the exact same. He says the setup with our country in comparison to countries over Europe, it's just out of sync at all, and it's so difficult to keep the enjoyment and obviously put them on the right pathway as it is.
Well, as I said earlier, I think we take the enjoyment out of their game too young. They stop playing with their friends too young. I stopped playing with my boys' club maybe about 14 or 15 maybe. And then Rangers, we went into a kind of pro youth league with Rangers then about 15, 16. So, and I at a very young age, because I played for my school. I played 11 sides for school and primary 3. Nice. So, and it was about winning. So they've taken the element of, obviously, it's a shame for the kids who aren't quite at the level of some other kids. I get that. But at a very young age, kids aren't expected to win until they go to 11 sides when they start playing for cups or leagues and things like that. So I think that's taken a wee bit of the mentality out of them, the wee bit of hunger because for an early age, because you want that drilled into them at a very young age that you have to win. And at Rangers, that was drilled into me. For being a young boy at Rangers, I knew that we had to beat Celtic. We had to finish above Celtic every year. And maybe at the time, Hearts and Dundee Uniteds and Aberdeens were good, strong teams. Like, they're still strong teams, but the gap was widening, obviously, with Old Firm because of the money situation. But I knew for a very young age that second wasn't good enough for Rangers. So I realised, as I said, maybe at 11, 12, 13-year-old that we had to win.
And the whole ethos of the club was different back then. I've spoke to guys that have no longer retired. I've spoke to guys like yourself that have came through. David Robertson as well. I spoke to him, and he actually joined before you. He started playing before you. I think it was like 91, 92. And he says he was starting to feel the 9 in a row getting talked about. But when you came through, I mean, it was literally a 6 in a row season. You wouldn't even seen that as anything different at the time. It's not until you look back now. You know, that was what a time to be coming through as a 17-year-old, working under Walter Smith, etc.
Well, as I said, when I went full-time at Rangers, we were winning reserve leagues, Reserve League West, BP Youth Cups, Glasgow Cups, and that was just the norm. So that was what I just expected, and that's what Walter and his coaches, like Billy Kirkwood, John McGregor, the guys that I had when I was full-time, they expected David Dodds. So these guys expected us to go and know what we were doing, express ourselves. So we're brought up in that mentality, and then watching the first team winning the league every year, then you got to understand that it has to be the case every year. So it was just in my blood and my mentality.
And did you ever feel, I mean, you're joining a team here, right? The Rangers had just signed Duncan Ferguson, I believe. Gorham was there, John Brown, Richard Gough, David Robertson, Ian Ferguson. I've just wrote them, Trevor Stephen, Ali McCoy, Mark Haitley. I mean, how do you feel the step up for that? And, you know, say to yourself, I can compete at this level with these guys for positions, I
don't think I've got any. You know, you've got ability. If what was putting you in there are actually not bringing you up to training with the first team at 16-year-old, then and you're doing well, you're not a silly boy. You're getting to that age where you know, right, okay, I need to push myself on again. And I always try and say to kids who go full time at 16, you might be the best 15-year-old or 16-year-old, but when you go full time, you're probably the worst. I'm not saying you're the worst, but you're probably starting for the lowest level again because we done the jobs. We had to clean the kit, do the boots, do the grounds. So we had
and
to
that was actually a privilege at the time. See, when you look back doing that, you thought, this is brilliant. I'm in a position to do this. It's not where I want to see myself in the next couple of years, but it's gaining your sort of apprenticeship.
That was my apprenticeship. So the only thing we didn't do was wipe the first team players' asses, but they would have got to do that. The cheeky bastard.
Could just imagine the Gaza help.
No, he's nuts, that man.
We'll come on to him in a wee bit, man.
That's the thing is, so I had an apprenticeship with 2 years. The kids don't get that anymore. So, and then I'd be the first year apprentice, then a second year apprentice, then you've got a first year pro, you've got a second year pro, then you've got Reserve League West team, you've got the reserve team, you've got the BP Youth Cup team, you've got the Glasgow Cup team. So we had hundreds of games then. We probably got as many games. Sorry.
That's all right. It just glitched a wee bit there. Sorry, you were just saying the kids now.
The kids probably don't get as many games as us, even when they're full time now. I know they're trying to do the Rangers B and whatever. I loved the reserve league. I loved playing it. If Rangers played Celtic at Parkhead, we'd play at Ibrox in the reserve game, and vice versa. We'd play at Parkhead when at Tynecastle we'd play it. If Rangers are playing at Ibrox, we'd play at Tynecastle and big things like that. So it was a great upbringing for me that way. And obviously, players who weren't playing in the first team, like a Big Dunk and Durante coming back from injury, are playing against guys like maybe Paul McStay or John Collins or John Robertsons and things like that, coming back from injury. Billy Abercrombie's who would just kick the shit out of you and things like that. And they weren't caring. So it was a great upbringing.
Set you up right, set you up right for. See, when you got your debut, right? I mean, go and just talk us through, right? So you've obviously been with the first team, you've been training. Walter Smith comes to you. I mean, how does this all come about then? When does he tell you? How does it feel? Just all the emotions that come with it.
Well, I'll tell you how it happened. Right, well, Jimmy Bell, you used to always get one apprentice go with Jimmy Bell away games, and we would help him with the hampers, put the strips up. So we're in the skiing do hotel the night before the game. I got up with Jimmy Bell in the morning. We go to the stadium. I helped Jimmy Bell put on the boot suit, put the numbers up, because it was just 1 to 13 or 1 to 14 at the time. So there was no names in the back of strips or anything. So it was just 1 to 14. I think maybe that was probably what it was. And then We went back to the Ski and Do Hotel. We had lunch, pre-match meal for before the game. It kicks off at 3:00. Then we would just sit, and then Walter would name the team and go, right, on the bus for 1:30. We want to be at the stadium for 2:00. So Walter just named the team, and I was starting, and I was in the stadium. I was in the Ski and Do Hotel in the lunchroom, and we're having lunch. And Walter names the team: Maxwell, Murray, Robertson, McCall, Miller, and Haitley. And I'm going, there's no another Miller in here. So, 17-year-old, I'm a wee bit taken aback. Because I thought I was just up to be the apprentice helping out.
Yeah,
and then that was it. And then went to Pataudry. My boots were there. Got a strip on. I think I wore number 9 that day.
What did he say to you, Charlie, before the game and that? He's been to have a wee word with you and said, keep it calm.
Not a thing.
They just let you just dad on.
Not a thing.
What about after it?
Not a thing.
Not just like you just go with it.
That was it. Not a thing. So I think you just expect him to go and play. I didn't have a great game. I was a bit still in shock, and I get 30 grand for getting my debut as well. So I was probably thinking about that.
It's unreal, when you think it now,
So it was surreal. I, as I say, Walter never said nothing. Nobody said nothing. Not a player said anything to me. And I was just expected to go and play because they seen me in training. They seen me playing reserves. And obviously, all the players and coaches knew that I would at some point take a step up.
And that validates it for you too as well, because they're not all coming to you and maybe try to put a name around you and saying you're actually there on merit, so that again helps you,
Yeah, I was never there because I was an arse licker or anything like that, because that was never I was never an arse licker, so I trained hard, I played hard, and my debut wasn't my greatest. And then I think I played in another 2 games that season. I came on against Rafe Rovers, and then we played Kilmarnock the last game of the season, and I didn't have a great game. I was I should have been ready, but I don't know, it was up with me. And then the following season, I started against Dundee United, and then it just kicked on for there. And I thought, I'm going to just go and take my chance here. I'm going to make sure that Walter Canny just put me in and out. Now I'm going to go and just stay in the team.
Aye. And I mean, in that season there that you're going on to, that was then taking us into 7 in a row. Did you win your first league league medal? Sorry, then
That's my first league winners medal that year.
That was right. We won the league with 16 points that season. But I've got to talk about Brian Laudrup. I mean, how good was Brian Laudrup when he first came in? You seen him coming in, seen him in training.
Jim White will tell you.
Okay, that's right. You asked the same question in a different way.
Jim White. I'm only joking. Laudrup was incredible. Laudrup didn't settle quite quick. It took a wee bit of time, and we signed Brian and we signed Basil.
Basil Bowley.
Basil just went off to win a European Cup with Marseille, I think a year or 2 before.
Did you see that interview with Walter Smith getting asked by Chick Young about that? Legendary.
Brilliant TV that is. But Laudrup was an incredible football player. It took a wee bit of time to settle. We lost against Athens, we lost against Falkirk in the Cup. Then I think we Celtic beat us at the league at Ibrox, I think.
Was that when you made your debut in 3-1? You beat that. You must have been the Rangers Celtic game after that, because you made your debut. It was 3-1.
Oh no, my debut, my Old Firm debut. Yeah,
Old Firm debut. Sorry,
Hampden. We beat them at Hampden 3-1. Yeah. And
how did that feel? I mean, making your Old Firm debut. There's been to be times I get the feeling though, Charlie, because the way your youth careers went, you've just kind of taken this in your stride. And I did hear you saying before, you felt like once you got to this level, you felt like you'd made it.
Well, that's the thing. You've only just started, and I played for about a year and a half solid every single game. I started every game, and that's when I was in holiday. I got Scottish Young Player of the Year in the 94 season, I think it was.
Yeah, it was.
On holiday, and then I hear that Rangers are signed Paul Gascoigne, and I thought, fuck, I thought I did okay last season. And then you've got the English madman coming in, and who was an incredible football player. But I have to have a lot. Stuart McCall, who was great. Stuart McCall, I played alongside for maybe that full season. He really helped me. Stuart was just dynamite. He got about the pitch. He worked so hard, and he helped me out. Not going to say he spoke to me much during it, but Stuart was incredible to play alongside, because Stuart played the same game every single week. Stuart was a 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10 every single game. So I learned a lot from Stuart. what to do and what not to do, and try and be my own player, if you know what I mean. Stuart McCall was great for me, and Big Mark. I love playing just behind Big Mark because that's what kind of load up in the wing, and I kind of played in between Stuarty and maybe Mark at the time, try to support Big Mark because obviously Coisty broke his leg I think the year before, and
because it was a following season after your first sort of full season, that you were able to play with McCoy, but I mean, I mentioned the Haley was superb, but no, I mean,
Mark was incredible for me as well. Mark, even he was coming in with his Versace gear on, and I was coming in with my, would you call it, bloody Asda gear. Mark had the Ferrari, I had the bus ticket for bloody Castle into would you call it, and I sitting up square to get the subway to Ibrox. So there was some difference in whatever, but Mark was coming to the end. He was near the end. Mark had a lovely career, great career, and I just seen that. Right, okay, I'm here now. So, but my problem was I know what my problem was. I thought I'd made it, and I didn't realise that. By the way, I can become better. I was a first team player, but a regular for a year and a half to probably the March we drew 1-1 with Celtic at Ibrox, Gaza's first season. But you think I was young. I was 18, 19-year-old, 17 when I made my debut, 93. 18 when I was a regular, 19 playing every game. 18, 19 played a year and a half, solid. The only game when Gaza came in, I didn't start that season. Was the first game against Famagusta at Ibrox, and Dukey scored.
Separate team, I remember that.
We won 1-0 at Ibrox, and then I started the next game away the following week, and then I played every single game of that season until March. And I was in a fight. I was in a fight in the Fox and Hounds. Stupidly, but young, and then Walter didn't play me again that season, so that was disappointing. But
because that was him trying to sort of make a stamp on you there, and trying to cut out. But I mean, the drinking culture back then was mental. I mean, you were going out.
It was my birthday we played Celtic on St Paddy's Day. My birthday was 18th.
Right.
We played Celtic that day. My birthday was the next day. We were all down in Houston, down at Renfrewshire, Coisty, that side, Gaza side, and we were all having a laugh. It was nothing mad. We weren't. It was just one idiot. Well, two idiots really, but one real idiot that started the whole stupidity, and then that was it, and it was in the papers for years and whatever, or for a year, and it was non-stop. And then Walter kind of taken the option of just taking me out. Well, no, the option he went and just took me out of the team, and I didn't play again that season. So that was very, very frustrating, disappointing.
And again, you never had the support that's there now too. I mean, when you were coming through, I mean, players nowadays, they support their network around them to say, look, you need to focus. You just had to get on with it, and obviously your family was a support for you. But when you're kicking about with the guys like Gaza and McCoist and all that, and there's a big dressing room feel to it, you hate to be involved in it.
I was also friends at that night as well. But that's one of the things. I made a wee stupid error. I didn't think I'd done anything worse than that. I probably should have been more open with what happened, because I said I didn't really do anything. I didn't think I'd really done anything. And then, as I say, I didn't play again. And that season, but remember, that's a difficult thing, because that's the year we won the Scottish Cup final as well, and we beat Hearts to score the Loudbrook final, even though Dukey scored a hat-trick. And we were losing 1-0 to Clyde in the Scottish Cup that year, and I scored 2 goals to, I think, the win 4-1 end up, but I scored 2 goals to get us 2-1 ahead. And Gaza scored, I think Peter Van Vossen scored, we won 4-1, but we were like 15 minutes to go and we were 1-0 down. So, and I still thought I should have still been part of the team. But Walter was the manager, and I respect still gutted to this day.
Yeah, I could imagine. But because what was I mean, I always ask everybody because I try and get some sort of an inside feel on what it's like. But what was Gaza like in the dressing room? And I heard it was more hassle when he was actually injured, because they just got up to so much shit.
Gaza was a nightmare when he was injured. Gaza was such a lovely guy. He's a great human being. He just needed loved, and that's what he got in the changing room at Ibrox. He never wanted to leave when David Murray sold him. But every player loved him. Everyone is. I don't imagine any player that played with him in that Rangers changing room anyway would have a bad word to say about him. He was a super football player. He
I
was
think
nuts.
Rangers got their best years at him as well. He was
Oh,
settled in at Rangers.
he was an incredible football player. He was absolutely nuts, but a superhuman being and always up to no good. But the thing, when you're saying he was up to no good when he was injured, he was a nightmare. Poor Gordon Allison, the physio. Gaz had done his Achilles. I think it was, and he had to go on a plaster for 10 days. They probably just shoved you in a boot now for 10 days, but Gaz had to go on a plaster for 10 days. And Gordon Allison is a lovely guy, the physio, and Gordon Allison was paranoid around Gaza because Gaza used to annoy the life out of him. And Gordon Allison's putting this plaster on, sweating at the same time, and he's getting the plaster. He fixes the plaster brilliantly, perfect. And he's like to Gaza, how's the plaster? How's the plaster? Is it good? And Gaza's like, it's brilliant, Gordon, but it's the other ankle. So he made Gordon Allison sit there for half an hour, 45 minutes, put a plaster on him, but it was a wrong ankle. So that's the kind of things he got up to. He was nuts. And he used to always steal Alec Cleland's clays. Alec Cleland, guys had come in on a Monday with a lovely Versace gear on, and then he'd be on the bevy for 2 or 3 days, no change. And then he would leave his gear at Alec Cleland's, take Alec Cleland's suit. Then Alec Cleland would wear his training gear home, get Gaza's suit dry cleaned, and then Gaza, and a couple of days later, would bring Alec Cleland's suit in a mess. He'd done this. He'd done it for, I think, 3 years.
And Cleland just put up with it.
Gaza was injured. He was nuts, and he just wanted to go and enjoy himself because he needed something today. And because playing football was Gaza's love and passion. He loved it, and that's how you see the situation he's in now, unfortunately, about his life. And I'm glad he's doing okay. I think you don't see him much in the newspapers. I've not heard from him for a while, but he seems to be doing better, which is great because football was all he ever had, I think, really, you know.
And I mean, you made your debut, you can, but I mean, the level of what Gaza was at and the media and the big furore that came with it and that, getting his name cheered every single game, then that just coming to a halt when you finish playing. That must be so hard to be out of the routine of all the changing room. That's like, you know what I mean? It must be so difficult to adapt.
That's so difficult as for every player, not just Gaza, because I'd say 95% of players who play football love the game. Love playing it. I love playing it. I'd say 99% is love it. But that's the problem when we finish. I don't think a lot of people in the game, actually at the top of the game, maybe in the PFA in England, or the PFA in Scotland, or SFA or English FA, they understand that when guys finish at 35-year-old, where do we go now? What happens? Because I was a bit lost myself as well. After I finished, you think the phone's going to go every day, but the phone stops going. You're hoping friends will help you, but friends have got other things to do and whatever. So it becomes a lonely place, and it becomes a difficult place to think, what am I going to do now? Because we've no degrees, we've not finished, probably half his didn't finish school. There's been clever football players who went and done things during their career, which is great. But not all of us had the best guidance. And I'm not saying I didn't have the best guidance. I had 2 great uncles who looked after me, incredible. I had a good agent. But just some choices I made and some choices that could have been helped. That was hard because, as I said, when you stop playing football, you're kind of just left it. You're just, and that's not just me. That's 95% of the football players. So that seems just normal for football, unfortunately.
Because there's nobody says to you, right, what you're going to do once you finish football. We've got this set up for you. And then it stops, like you say, it could stop at 35-year-old. And then you're in the house every morning and you're like, what do I do with myself? And that must be really difficult. And then, I mean, you can see, can I touch into something, right, that I've highlighted, right? And I forgot to mention, what was the script to David Beckham's boots, by the way? That was something I meant to ask before we move on to the next season.
Well, me and Gaza were signed by Adidas. I had my Adidas Charlie. I had Adidas, my name said Adidas Charlie on the Predator boots. Gaza had a Gaza. And then one day, David Beckham needed a pair of boots and Adidas were trying to sign him as well. So they gave them a pair of boots that were obviously for me. But were my boots, but I didn't need them because I had that many pairs that they sent me anyway, so it wasn't a problem. So David Beckham was probably a size 8 then, I take it. And they sent him a pair that would maybe fit him or whatever. I don't really know. And then he scored that goal for halfway line against Wimbledon. And then that's That's what happened. I don't really know much more about it. I've never asked really about it.
Put it in his book, though. He mentioned that in his book.
Was that?
He said he mentioned that in his book, though.
Yes,
That was when he sort of first said it.
So if he wants to give me the boots back and I can sell them for 250 grand, then
that'd be all right. You think you're entitled to that?
But I mean, you end up doing no bad with him.
Yeah, so it was the boots. It was doing to the bits again. That's what it comes to. But did you play in any of these stadiums over the last few seasons that we discussed? You were at against Juventus, Ajax, Dortmund, Bucharest. Did you play in any of these stadiums?
I played Bucharest. I came on in Ajax. I was injured for Juventus game. I had shin splints, a wee bit of shin splints, and I was probably fortunate I missed the game in Juventus because we get 4-1 over there and 4-0 at Ibrox. But the one at Ibrox, we were in the game. It was a tight game.
Aye, I remember that was where they made the sketch. I'm sure it was Cleland and it was Del Piero, and it was like they disappeared. And it was a sketch
that was the one over there. That was the one.
I mean, what a team they had then. What a team they had. What a team they had there with Del Piero.
They were an incredible team. We played. I'm sure we played Juventus, Ajax, and Dortmund, and like some maybe the year before or a year after. Each year they went on to win the European Cup. I'm sure it was something like that.
Because, but I mean, at this time you're looking 9 in a row is really getting mentioned all the time. I mean, how was that for your side? I mean, could you avoid that, or was it there? Could you hear it all the time?
To be honest with you, maybe what was that? I was 7. Well, I was 18 when we won 7, 19 when we won 8, 20 when we won 9. It was it wasn't anything that I really thought about. I was a young wee guy, still starting out my football career, and I just thought Rangers winning the league every year was just normal. So I didn't think about 9 in a row because I thought it's got to be 20 in a row. That's what I was imagining if you get
winning. Just keep winning.
So I never thought about it. I think it was older players, obviously, like Coiste, Durante, the goalie, Goffey, especially Goffey, Coiste, Durante, Ian Ferguson, Bomber. These guys who've been there for probably the beginning, obviously Walter. Been for the beginning, so I think it was more pressure on the guys than it was for the kind of younger guys. So, but I seen the relief in their faces when we won that night at Tannadice. I really did.
That was you got an unlikely assist there, but I was to mention to you because I spoke to him previously. It was David Roberts, and he actually says that he assisted you because he threw the ball to you.
That's what he could only do was throw the ball anyway. That daft. I love David Robertson. He's a great guy. Deeks, great fullback. But I threw the bottom. It was Andy McLaren that was actually chasing me. I mentioned him earlier. Andy McLaren, he says he let me run off me. I let me run off him, sorry, to score. And an unlikely assist. I must have got loads of assists for Rangers. Everybody says my left foot. I was bad with both. There you go.
Consistent at the same level.
So
can you still remember that though? Can you still remember going down the wing?
I still remember that. I still remember as if it was yesterday. I just remember whipping the ball in, and it was that good a ball. Laudrup didn't even not hit his seat and went in because that was the only time Laudrup headed the ball in the 3 year that I was at Rangers with the guy. I'm only joking. He was an incredible football player, but it was probably the only time I've actually seen him head of the ball.
What he did
it was an incredible header, and his hair's not changed one bit for that today.
It's still the same. Do you hear from him much? Do you message
really? No. If you see, everybody's busy doing their own thing when we get a bit older. As I say, I'm bloody 4 or 5 times a week with this football, then doing coaching elsewhere and with my football academy. So I'm busy with this.
Family and everything and all that.
And then family, I'm a grand as well now. My granddaughter who'll be 3 in November, and my daughter's 31, my son's 26. So we still got family. Family to think about it and all this. So and you still get a livelihood to worry about as well. Because my pension, you don't get pension at 35 now, it's 54. So any football players beware, you don't get it at 35. So
it's mad. Kick on, right? So you were the 9 in a row season that we were discussing. That was the season that Alberts was signed, Bjorkland. Haley came back again as well.
Haley, Mark came back for the last couple of games. I'm sure Jockey was there before. Jockey was there. I think Jockey was there the same year as Gaza came in.
Was that the same year he came in? I don't know if he picked up injuries, but
I'm sure Jockey came in 8. So did I'm sure Albert's come in it as well.
Aye. So they were played a part in 9, but they came in actually. See, there was no transfer window back then, though.
No, there wasn't. I think March was the last time you could sign somebody until March or something like that. I don't really remember, to be honest with you. I was young, so I wasn't really thinking about that. But I'm sure George came in 95.
Mm-hmm. That was the same year as Gaza then.
Was that the one we won 1-0 at Parkhead?
Aye, Andy Dibble was there in that.
I came on the last 15 minutes or something.
Mm-hmm. What was it like being part of all that, though? I mean, that must have been brilliant,
As I say, I was just expecting it for the rest of my life. And you just think you're going to win every week or going to win trophies every year. And I'm going to have to say to young guys now, if you get the chance, enjoy it. Because it doesn't happen every year because things change in football. Things change in your circumstances, or a manager might not like you. So if you win anything, enjoy it. Because I still remember the 9 in a row night, and I'll never forget it. And
were you on the bus on the way back down as well? Were you on the bus? Did you come on the bus on the way back down to Dundee United?
All of us were on the bus on the way back down.
Because David Robertson said they missed that. He went to join. He had to go and join Leeds. He was saying, so he missed that. He says it was the biggest regret in his whole career. He says just coming back down the road. Loudrup was on singing about in Gaza. You stopped off at was it Bridge Allen or somebody? We
stopped off at the one at the runabout just in Dundee. The hotel there. It was the Swallow, maybe.
Aye, no, it's not there anymore. But I know who you were. Aye.
Stopped there just at the big runabout before you entered Dundee.
Did they know you were coming? Did they know you were? Was that pre? Like, did somebody say?
I think they weren't caring anyway. They were just wanting us there. But I think when you were going back for a few beers, because we played Hearts on the Saturday at Tynecastle. So we went home that night, had a few beers, and then the next day we were in training. Then Friday we were back in the hotel in Edinburgh. Then Saturday we played at Tynecastle. Then we had to go to the Edinburgh airport, and the helicopter brought us back for sunny Edinburgh to bloody piss in the rain Glasgow, because it was pelting it down when we flew back into Glasgow, because we flew around Ibrox and you could see all the fans in the stadium. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And we went to the big mad helicopter. It was mental things, honestly.
Just when you look back now, it's like, but do you remember it was Motherwell that we were playing?
That was a Monday.
Aye, and it was beautiful. The weather was absolutely beautiful. It was all perfectly set up for that day. I'm sure it was
that was a Monday. That was a Monday. It was a bank holiday Monday. I was in a car crash on the Sunday.
Right, fuck.
So I wasn't even in the squad on the Monday. I was in the squad, but I wasn't in the starting squad or even on the bench. And I remember, because as a football player, you have to be a wee bit selfish as football. I didn't feel part of it, even though I'd been part of it. You still want to play. You still want to be on the pitch.
Play your part, I feel like.
With Motherwell at Ibrox on the Monday was supposed to be party day and everything. And then Wednesday we had to play Tannadice the Wednesday, and that started. And it wasn't even on television. It was there was no television game that night, and so a lot of people didn't get to see it. But every person I speak to says that's the best day of my night. I was there.
Everybody was there. Nobody wants to admit it, because other Rangers fans were in the Dundee United end. I can remember seeing it, and it was just like it was scattered. You crossed that ball, and half the stadium went up, and then the other half sat back down again. Like
I would say 3/4 it went up, to be honest with you.
It was mental.
That was an incredible night.
But I mean, for there it was kind of like an end of an era after that. I mean, these players that we've mentioned, Lottie McCoist and all that, and Ian Ferguson stayed, but McCoist was away, and there was, Gough was away. He went to America and that. But you worked under Advocat for after that, Was it Dick Advocat?
But the year we lost 10 in a row is when we signed Lorenzo, we signed Sergio, we signed Stolly Stensas, we signed Marco.
Yeah, Negre. Got him coming on in a wee while as well. He'll be interesting, because he had that season that he had was ridiculous, and there was something happened. I'll talk to him about it later, but it was along the lines
about that. He'll let you know better than that, but I'm sure there's something to do with squash.
That's right.
So was there as well. But I think they maybe brought in maybe one too many that year. But Walter still the year on his deal after we lost 10 in a row. And then Advocates David Murray kind of just says, well, I'm bringing an advocate in, I think, and that's the way it happened. I don't know if that's true, but it just seemed very sudden.
And at this age, I mean, you're still young. You're only 21, 22 here, eh? Ken, it's like, and you're seeing all this going on. It's only new when you look back. Ken,
everybody thinks I was... Well, a lot of people speak now that you're 21, 22, you're still a young boy. I was playing at 17, 18. And probably the hardest Rangers team you could ever try and get into, I would say, at the time. But now people are saying you're a young boy at 21, 22. My career was finished.
You were hitting peak levels. You were starting
my career just ended practically. No, so I had a year under Advocate. Advocate was fine. He wasn't a bad person. Just the way my Rangers career ended up under Advocate. And I can accept that he signed some wonderful football players, Giovanni, Newman, Mikey Moles. Mikey was a year after. Rodney Wallace, Kanchelskis he signed.
Claudia Arena as well.
That was after me. But the first one he signed was like, he signed Gabby Amato, great player, just Advocate, just couldn't handle him. But Rod Wallace, Gabby, Kanchelskis, Giovanni, and he brought Craig Moore back for Crystal Palace.
You go through them all, it's frightening when you can. They're all household names. It's mad, but when you left away, it was you got along with Derek McInnes. It was like there was a letter handed to you or posted to you.
That's the only time I ever fell out with Advocate. That was the only time I had to go at him because, as I say, he fancies players. Managers have their own choice of players they like, and other ones like other ones. That's normal. And as I said in a podcast a while back, just give me my place. Just speak to me face to face. Say, I don't fancy the way I think this guy is good, which is understandable. That's cool. That's no problem. But to get for being an 11-year-old to signing this on at 11, Derek actually played in the cup final of the year when we won the treble. Went and loaned to Leicester in the March.
That's right.
Derek actually played in the cup final. I phoned Derek. I says, "Did you get a letter through your door?" He says, "I've not been done yet." So I said, "I've got a bloody letter through my door signed after Murray. Tell me to train with the kids. I have to report back with the kids." And Derek says, "I'll tell you in a second." So he went down the stairs. He got a letter, and he said, "I was devastated." Because I say, if you man to man, you just come and say to me, "By the way, that's it." I go, "Hun, that's cool. That's fine. I'll need to move on, and that's understandable." But a letter through my door, and then. It's no good. And then, as I say, I was reporting back with the kids. I was going up for lunch, and Advocate came out and went, "Hey, Charlie, how are you?" And I said, fuck off, you wee baldy bastard." And he phoned my agent. He said, "Why is Charlie like that?" And my agent explained to me, "You don't understand what you've done. You've brought a guy's heart." And as I say, just a word, face to face, just go, "This is what I think." And then I lost a wee bit of respect for Advocate then. Because of the situation, because I was hurt.
And what about Murray as well? I mean, did you ever get a conversation with Murray about that later? Was that brutal, eh?
I'd probably helped me one of his crutches, to be fair, but
maybe but no, but you got. I mean, that's we went through up till you're leaving Rangers. You got a message for the Rangers fans, your time there, and the memories.
Well, I do my podcast. I do all about the Gers podcast every week with Derek Ferguson and Ricky Neal. So,
right.
I know the fans know where my origins lie, and I love my time there. I'm a fan now. I watch. Things are tough at the moment. When a new manager come in, do we keep on giving them time?
I don't
know. It's a difficult one, but you don't want to keep on going down the road of sacking managers every year. But I also believe Philwell's got a lot to answer for as well with a lot of the players. I said in my podcast all about the Gers with Derek Ferguson and Ricky that I think we should just assign 4 or 5 right good ones that come in and start. I didn't think we were that far away under Clement. Just thought some of Clement's decisions at times were strange. But Russell Martin, will he get the time? I think he probably will, because Philwell brought him in. The 49ers backed him, I think. And then I've spent a few quid, and even though it's only a net spend of £7.5 million, because we brought in a lot of money with selling Igamam and a few others. But I love Rangers. I want us to win. We're 4 points behind Celtic already. It could have been 6, but it's probably the worst Old Firm game I've seen for a long, long time.
It was brutal. But both teams are feared to lose it. I mean, I've never seen one like it where the fans are shouting about the board in one set of fans, and then the fans are shouting about the manager there. And the way the game just panned out, it got to about 70 minutes, and you could see it just went flat.
I think you could probably see after 10, 15 minutes it was going to be a 0-0 or a scruffy 1-0 winner to somebody. And it probably wouldn't have been us if it was, even though I thought we were the better team in the first half without creating too much. I thought we were on the front foot with some kind of ones across goal. But Miovski's a good signing. Miovski looks the part. We know what he can do. He'll score goals in the league. It's just if we can keep him out at the other end. Butland's been probably our best player so far, him and Gassam. So it's good to have Butland back playing well. But we just have to get back to winning. And Russell Martin will know that. He'll know he's under pressure because as soon as the fans start but not turning up at the stadium,
that's when they can.
That's when the hierarchy will realise that.
Because you don't know how much they're. I mean, they were there at the weekend there, but I mean, prior to that, they're just getting it fed back to them, Faith Elwell, Faith Patrick Stewart, and such like. And I don't know if they actually realised how much of the unrest was starting to entail. And then they went along at the weekend there, and they seen it, they heard it. But you're right, they can't keep sacking managers. They can't keep doing it.
No, I'm sure the guys up above will be reading newspapers, and it's not just reading newspapers. It's results based as well. I don't think any of the 4 games we've drew would probably deserve to win any of them, to be fair, because I've lost at home to Panathinaikos. The best performance I've had was Pilsen at home, but they were poor. We were a bit lucky away for there if it wasn't for Butland that night. So we've not deserved to win any games apart from the Pilsen one at home. That's my thoughts, what I've watched so far, and that's no great. Usually, if you draw one each at Motherwell, you could have been 3 or 4-0 up, but that's not been the case. It's at Mum, it wasn't the case. And Dundee were probably better than us in the day at Ibrox, although we could have sneaked it at the end. But that's been the issue. The fans can handle it if the team's looking as if they're going to win games and playing well and playing his style. The fans will buy into that, but it's just been a poor standard at the moment.
It's trying to actually see what the playing style is. If you can see the playing style, it'll take time, it will come. But the new, it just seems like disjointed today. But what you say, they're in better hands, and the guys have got a plan, so it'll be interesting to keep an eye on it. But can I touch on, you mentioned Leicester, but you picked up a wee injury when you were there and returned back, but I believe you went to Watford. Was it Graham Taylor that signed?
Yes, I played at Leicester for a few months under Martin O'Neill.
Right.
And then I went to Watford under Graham Taylor. Not a right club for me. Great club, lovely people, and I met some great guys down there. The style I played, I think, suited me that well. And I didn't have a great year. I think I played 13, 14 games, and sometimes you just know things aren't going to work. And that was with a lot of the boys that signed at the same time as me. A lot of us kind of struggled with Taylor. His personality it was all about Graham Taylor, if you know what I mean. And
I think football moved on before he'd actually got a chance to catch up. It kind of came across that way.
He done it, and by the way, he done an amazing job with Watford over his 2 spells there. But probably just wasn't the right fit for me. Although, as I say, I still get some great mates and great times with them guys down there, and I still look out for Watford's results, even though they're run by different people now. But you still have always a soft spot for your guys.
Relation to them, But you had you played more games between 25-year-old and 29-year-old at Dundee United. Was that Paul Sturrock or Alex Smith that signed you then? Who was it?
Alex Smith signed me. I loved Alex Smith. He's a great man. I've known him for a long time. I think the lucky old gets staying in Australia where I lived because his daughter was there. So I met him a couple of times when I was over there living when I played in the last few years of my career. So I hope he's living well and enjoying his there. But I had a good time at Dundee United, even though with Stephen Thompson done to my first club, the club that I love, and I was disappointed with them, well, him especially. But I still had 4 great years at Dundee United, and I'll never forget that because I was kind of not wasting away down in Watford. I just kind of lost an interest and
lost your way more than anything.
And then I helped Dundee United that year. They helped me, and because I think when I arrived with 2 points in the league in November, I think it was I arrived. With 2 points in the league, they nailed on certainties to go down. And then we went in a good run, a few games. We got a lot of, I think we ended up on about 30 odd points, 30 odd points after that. And but Alex Smith signed a boy called Baton Aveda He came in, a wee Argentinian guy. He was a very good player. He'd have done amazing if he got a bad knee injury. But I had some great memories at Dundee United. Four good years, and I think probably underachieved a wee bit. But every time we got to a semi-final, we get the strong Celtic team. We beat Rangers in the quarter-final of the Scottish Cup, and then we get Celtic in the semi at Hampden, and then we'd Celtic in the semi of the League Cup. We always seem to get Celtic. They had the Larson, Sutton, and Hartson, and they always kind of give us a bit of a doing. We could probably get in a bit Rangers a bit better because Rangers were more a technical football team. Celtic were a big, strong, powerful team with some great finishers in the team. And we beat Rangers at Ibrox 2-0 as well. And that was a year, like so, Advocate had a poor year with some of his signings, like Big Bert, who didn't hit the ground running. Fernando struggled that first year. God bless his soul, obviously. He's a good friend and sadly he's passed away. But the Rangers struggled that year. But hey ho.
One of the game over Advocate too, though. That's you've been there. That's bro. Got a wee bit back there.
Well, we beat Rangers in the Scottish Cup under Advocate. We beat them at Ibrox under Advocate. But I wasn't thinking you've got to go and play for the team you represent, and that if it was Celtic, I would have been much sweeter. Obviously, the heart was still for Rangers. Obviously, still loved the club and still cherish my time there. But as I was at Dundee United now, you have to give your best for that team. And so, as I said, I had good times there. Ian McCall came in. Heggie got the job after Alex Smith got sacked. I loved Heggie. Paul Hergate was a wonderful football player in his day, and he was a great human being. Him and Maurice Malpass, I got on great with John Blackley. And then Ian McCall and Gordon Chisholm came in.
It's great to be around, Dave, when you associate yourself with these names, thinking that you came back for a young lad in Castlemilk and you're associating yourself with all these names, It's something new when you talk about it,
Yeah, of course. The great players I played with Ibrox, some good players at Watford, some players I've got coached with Dundee United, some good players I played at Dundee United. So I had great 4 years at Dundee United, and I moved up to Broughty Ferry. It was a lovely part of the world, and I enjoyed it. The fans were great. The fans took to me, and I enjoyed my time. I really did.
Time up there, you had a wee bit of issues though, and I'm taking this from your book here, but you had issues with gambling as well when you were up there. I interviewed Peter Shilton, and I sat with him and his wife, and it goes back to you never had nothing to do when you were finished. You had no support after training, and you had no. And I mean, did you get heavy in that? Obviously,
my gambling. See, my gambling was boredom. That's what it was. It was boredom. Because a Thursday you couldn't go and drink because you gave me Friday. Although I probably did sometimes drink as well.
Right.
Mine was just it wasn't to win. If I was up $3,000 in the bookies, I would wait to the last race and put that $3,000 onto that last race and see if it won.
How far it could
and then if it lost, I'd be like, fuck it, right?
Never had it anyway. Never had it.
It was just stupid gambling. It wasn't punting like I wasn't millions or hundreds of thousands of pounds, but I was betting lots of money regularly. But
you bet it on there, or you just stopped it altogether?
I still do football coupons. Still do football coupon. Need an interest. Still, don't get me wrong. With some of the football coupons these days, you're better just opening the bookies door and throwing your money in the door. There's a donation. But
that's so accessible now. It's so accessible. I mean, you're saying you don't even can use the term up in the bookies. You can literally sit on your phone. It's ridiculous what you can bet.
Yeah, I don't do that. That's not a thing I get involved in. No,
it's too heavy. But no, like I said, I interviewed Peter Shilton and his wife Steffi, and they sat and spoke about it, and it was so eye-opening. It's everywhere, and it's just trying to make sure you can control it. But you went there to Norway with Robbie Winters, I believe. You enjoyed your time out there, especially that season when you were with Brand.
2 good seasons there. It was the fans were amazing. They loved me. The fans taken me just like the Dundee United fans took to me. And I had 2 great years there. I loved every minute. It was a bit. It wasn't the likes of Glasgow City. It was you could have just go down there wasn't a pub just around the corner. You can go and sit and have a pint and watch a game. You had to, if you were going out, you had to get into town. It wasn't just your wee local pubs, but it was a great time. It was an eye opener for me. spent more time with my family, which was great.
Mhm.
And my kids went to international school, then they went to Norwegian school. My daughter speaks fluent. My son's dyslexic, but he
Right.
picks up wee bits.
Mhm.
Dyspraxic, she's got dyspraxia, sorry.
Right.
But my daughter, she was fluent. So it was a great upbringing for them. And
Mhm.
then I moved to Belgium. I had two
Aye.
great years in Belgium as well.
Aye.
My family came back to Glasgow, and I live
Mhm.
with a couple in Belgium, Chris and Jeff de Kepper. Lovely people.
Right.
Jeff sadly passed away. I
Oh,
still keep in touch with Chris, and I met wonderful people there. Great club, but the club was a bit messed up, like
Mhm.
financially.
I've got here. You got a short term deal, and then you signed a 3-year deal. But then when the club went, it says here relegation actually kind of was what set it off, because they weren't promoted, I think.
No, I signed in the January, and the day I signed with a meeting, and the next day with a meeting, they said we can't pay your wages. That was the next day, and I thought, and then I said, well, because they were supposed to give me a Kia Jeep, put me up in a flat, and then pay me X amount of money. And I said I couldn't care about the Kia Jeep, I couldn't care about the flat, but I'm signed here. I want my money. The next day, I got a bag of money handed to me, and I was like, happy days. So, and I always get paid in time. And then an Egyptian guy called Magid Sami came in, a nice guy. And the guys who were there before, they were Lier's fans. They just financially, they weren't in a good place, and they were good. They were good people, all these guys, and they treated me great. And the people in Belgium where I lived in Lier were lovely people. The fans were great as well. And unfortunately, we were in a bit of a situation where we never looked like getting out of the relegations. So I only went there because Kjetil Rekdal, he was a guy who used to play with Liers. He was a manager in Norway when I was in Norway, and he asked if I would go. And I knew what kind of mentality he had. He won the league with Liers with Peter Houstra.
Oh,
I
I
think it was 92 or 93, 94 maybe. They won the league with Liers. And I knew his character for when he was in Norway as well. He knew my character. So that's probably the reason I went there.
Aye, and enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. Aye, and then for there, I mean, you ended up in Australia. I mean, how the hell did you go from Belgium to Australia, and how did that move come about?
It was just Craig Moore contact me, and Ferguson actually contacted me first, and asked me to go to Central Coast Mariners. He was assistant manager there under Laurie McKenna, and I said, "Aye, we agreed a deal." And Craig Moore phoned me the next day and said, "Charlie, would you come to Australia?" I said, "Mate, I've already agreed a deal with Fergie at Central Coast Mariners." And then Fergie comes back, phones me back the next day and said, "Charlie, we still want you to come over, but we can only give you half of that deal." And I said, "Well, no, Craig Moore's." I spoke to Craig Moore yesterday, and I said, "No, but I'll speak to Craig, see what he says." And over at Craig, and I've met Frank Ferrini. He was also the national manager of Australia before he taken the Queensland Road job. That's what I called it there at the time. Obviously, Brisbane Road. Frank Farina wanted to sign me within one game of seeing me. And then I had two great years there with Craig Moore, Bob Malcolm, my wee mate Danny Tiato, and all the rest of the boys we loved the boys. Some great young kids came through. Wee Matt Mackay came over to Glasgow, played with Rangers for a short time. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him, but he didn't get playing in his best position at Rangers. And there was a bit of a shambles at the club at the time as well. So, but I had 2 great years over there, and it was some place to live.
And did you go back much, or is he just
No, I've not been back since. That was 15 years ago. I've not been back since, because it's not as if it's just around the corner.
No, it's not that.
So,
no, I mean, it's amazing when you lay it all out like that, Charlie. It's brilliant. When you see the countries it's took to you, the players you've been associated with. Usually, just as I'm rounding up, I mean, you were in Australia, you had hernia surgery as well over there, and that was kind of what ended that.
Not really, no, because
did you play on for there?
I played on the next season, and then Frank had a wee incident that he gets sacked, and no get into that, but Frank was brilliant. And then Postecoglou came in, and Postecoglou, Ange was trying to get rid of a few of the boys, and Ange wanted to keep me, but as soon as he fell out with Craig and Danny Tiato and Bob Malcolm, that's my pals, that's who I was involved with. And then I went to Gold Coast. I went kind of said, "I'm away, I need to get out here." I signed for Gold Coast. Then the family came back home then, and then I'd come back in the following April, May time. So that was the end of that. But I could have stayed and just seen Andrew. He was here. I met him at Frank McGarvey's funeral, who Frank McGarvey I've known for a long time. But sadly passed away. And I met Ange and he said, you should have given me at least a month. And I should have given him at least a month because, but I was being a bit stubborn and I thought, nah, he's know what I'm looking for. But he was amazing there. I think he won 2 A-League titles over the next 3 or 4 years. And then he's successful everywhere he's went since, you know.
It's brilliant thing that was 17, 18 years ago, and you can still remember that and say to you, look, you ken the other players that he's managed over the years. It's good to still be able to make an impression.
Yeah, no, Ange wasn't a bad person. Never a bad person. And none of the guys, I wouldn't say in my entire career, in Norway, I didn't go in with a coach in Norway very well, Mons. He was a lovely guy. But he played me wide in midfield, and I didn't like playing there. I thought I should be playing in the centre or behind the front one or front two. But he played me, and I played nearly every game under him, so I can't complain. But we've never seen eye to eye all the time. But I have a lot of respect for every coach I worked under, and I wouldn't have a bad word to say about any players that I played with or anything like that. So I've been very lucky, and I don't think many of the players that I played will say many bad things about me. Maybe a wee bit nuts, but
well, see, as we're rounding up, Charlie, would you mind, as I always do it with everybody, could you name the best team that you've played with, players that you've played with in a 4-4-2 formation? I'm guessing Andy Gorham's going to be your goalie, but can we work for there?
Andy Gorham was my goalkeeper, 100%. I named a different one in my book because I went kind of heart, because I was close with these guys. But probably the players you would have to say, David Robertson's left back. It would be. It's probably going to be mostly a Rangers team, to be honest with you. I'll play probably. I would have to go Goffey, Craig Moore, Alan McLaren. I maybe have to leave David Robertson. Actually, I maybe have to go free because I'll have to go Goffey, Alan McLaren, and big Craig Moore. I'd have to go Trevor, Stephen, Durant, Gaza, Alberts, Loudrup, Haitley, McCoy.
It's not bad, and that's just naming it like that. I mean, there'll be somebody there you think I should have done that, but brilliant. I mean, how do you look back on your career then? I mean, just as we're closing up, how do you look back on your career? You've got to be proud of it.
I've made mistakes. Made mistakes. I probably thought I made it too soon, even though I was playing first team football, and didn't realise that you can still kick on. But that's life. You made your choice. So, but I loved every minute of it, and I had my time. People ask if I would like to play now. I'd say, oh God, the thought of doing a pre-season training right now would absolutely kill me. But being on 300 grand a week, I'd probably retired after a month.
I'd stay the pre-season and say I'm out here.
And I would have swam to bloody Saudi Arabia. People say it's not, but when you get to 35-year-old and the money wasn't what it is like now, I would have swam to Saudi Arabia for that money. But that's the way the guys in the 70s would probably say we get more money. The guys in the 80s would probably say we get more money, and so on and so on.
But what you all say is you all look back and you look back on it as the money came with it, and it's your career. And if you got more or you got less, but you can't take away what you've already had. That's
what it is. And as people ask, what's the best decades of football? The 70s will say the 70s, 80s will say the 80s, 90 guys will say the 90s, 2000s will say the 2000s, and that's the way it goes on. 2010s. So my favourite player of all time is Maradona, and a lot of people think Messi's the greatest, but for me, Maradona would have been. Imagine Messi trying to play and Maradona played. Imagine Maradona playing now, but you can't go back. It's just the times. That's the way of the world.
Nah, but fair play, Charlie. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks very much. Really appreciate it.
No worries. We finally got it done anyway, mate.
We got.